I missed a work deadline to help my brother move his family out of state. I packed boxes, drove the U-Haul, even paid for the motel when their apartment fell through. When I asked for my $400 back a month later, he said, "You're rich. Get over it." My dad agreed. "You always had more than him." I let it go, until I found out he used my name to open a credit card. When I showed my parents the bill, my mom said, "That's just what brothers do." That's when I made a call to a friend who worked in fraud investigation. I used to believe that if you gave without expecting anything back, things would come full circle eventually. That being the responsible one in the family meant something. That if I kept helping, forgiving, and keeping the peace, I'd earn respect. Or at least, loyalty. I was wrong. Let me tell you what really happened. I want to put it all down, every ugly part of it. Not for sympathy. Not even for closure. Just so that maybe someone else out there sees the signs before it's too late. My brother, Kyle, is 4 years younger than me. We grew up in Mesa, Arizona. Same house, same parents, same busted air conditioning. But somehow, we were never on the same path. I worked through high school, took out loans, and put myself through a state college in Colorado. I landed a decent IT job in Denver, stayed out of trouble, and built a life. Kyle. He flunked out of community college. Had 3 jobs in 5 years. Lived off Megan's paycheck, his girlfriend since they were teenagers, who became his wife after their second kid. Every time I saw them, he had a new plan. A business idea. A podcast. A YouTube channel. It never went anywhere. Still, I figured he was doing the best he could. And I tried not to judge. He was my brother. So when he called last July and said they were moving to Spokane, Washington, I listened. "They offered me a job up there," he said. "Warehouse lead. Full-time, good benefits. It's a fresh start." He sounded hopeful. Desperate, but hopeful. Then came the ask. "I need help with the move," he said. "Just a few things. Can you take some time off work? Drive the truck?" I hesitated. I had a big project wrapping up. Deadlines. My boss had been on my ass for weeks. But I felt like if I said no, I'd be abandoning him. So I said yes. That was my first mistake. The few things turned into everything. Kyle hadn't packed a thing. Megan looked overwhelmed. The kids were everywhere, drawing on boxes, crying, fighting. I spent 2 days packing their whole life into a U-Haul while Kyle kept saying, "We'll be out of here soon," and disappearing every couple hours. I paid for the U-Haul upgrade because the original one was too small. I drove it all the way from Mesa to Spokane, through triple-digit heat and wildfire detours. When we arrived, their apartment fell through. Something about a failed background check. I booked 3 nights at a cheap motel just outside Spokane Valley and paid cash, because Kyle said his debit card was acting up. That was $400 out of pocket. I didn't complain. Not once. But I did expect him to pay me back. 2 weeks later, I called him. "Hey, just checking in, any update on that $400? Silence. Then he laughed. "Come on, man. You're rich. Get over it." I blinked. "What? You make, what, twice what I do? You don't even have kids. It's not a big deal." "It is to me," I said. He sighed, like I was being unreasonable. "I'll get it to you eventually," he muttered, then hung up. I sat there, stunned. Then my dad called. I don't even know how Kyle got to him that fast. "Let it go," Dad said. "You've always had more than him. What's a few $100? It was like getting kicked in the chest. I tried to explain, but Dad cut me off. "You can't hold money over his head. That's not what family does. Right. Apparently, what family does is take what they want, guilt you into silence, and call it love. I was furious, but I let it go, for a while. A month later, I got a letter from Chase. It was a credit card statement. $2,137 due. Opened under my name. Sent to an address in Spokane. I stared at it for a long time. It had my full name, my social security number. But I hadn't opened a new card. Not in over a year. I called Chase. They confirmed the address. It was Kyle's apartment. I pulled the itemized charges. Furniture. Gas. Groceries. DoorDash. A $629 charge to GameStop. My heart sank. I knew what happened. But I didn't want to believe it. So I drove to Spokane again. Didn't tell anyone. I just got in my car and went. When I got there, I knocked on their door at 7:06 a.m. Megan answered in a robe, eyes puffy. She looked at me like I was a ghost. Kyle came out a minute later. He looked surprised. Then defensive. "What are you doing here?" he asked. I held up the credit card bill. He looked at it. His eyes flicked over the balance. "Yeah, I was gonna tell you about that." I didn't say anything. "We needed help," he said. "I was gonna pay it back." "Chill. You used my name." "We didn't have a choice," Megan said behind him. "We needed groceries. We needed furniture. We were starting over." "That wasn't yours to take," I said. Kyle rolled his eyes. "Oh, come on. You weren't using that credit." "You're fine." I turned and left. I sat in a diner down the road for 2 hours. Didn't even touch my coffee. Then I called Rachel. She used to sit behind me in freshman year calc. Now she worked in fraud investigation for a major bank in Seattle. I told her everything. She didn't hesitate. "You need to file a police report. Today." She walked me through the steps: fraud report with Chase, credit freeze, a report to the FTC, and finally, a local police report. "Don't tell him," she said. "Let the system work." I listened. And I waited. The waiting was the hardest part. Every day, I checked my email, half expecting the whole thing to disappear. That maybe Chase would say they couldn't prove it was him, or the cops would shrug and say, "Sorry, nothing we can do." But Rachel was right. Within 2 weeks, I got a call from a detective in Spokane. Detective Harrington. Straightforward guy. Didn't waste time. "Your brother used your identity to open the card. We've matched surveillance footage from a furniture store. He used your name, but we have him on camera signing for the delivery." I said nothing. "You want to press charges?" he asked. I hesitated. I thought about my parents. About the screaming matches I'd had with my dad over the years whenever I tried to draw boundaries with Kyle. About how my mom still treated him like he was 12 and I was the school principal trying to suspend him. But then I thought about that motel. About how I missed a major deadline at work just to help Kyle move, and how that nearly cost me a client bonus. About how my name was now tied to a fraud case. "Yes," I said. When Kyle found out, he called me from a new number. I let it go to voicemail. He left a screaming message. "You're ruining my life over some dumb ******* ing card. You're gonna get me arrested. What is wrong with you?" That was just the beginning. My parents called too. "You didn't have to go this far," my mom said. "He's your brother." "No," I told her. "He's a thief." She started crying. Said I was tearing the family apart. That Kyle was already having a hard time finding steady work. That this would follow him for the rest of his life. I wanted to ask her what she thought a felony charge would do to my life. But I didn't. I just hung up. Then Megan called. I didn't even know she had my number. I didn't know he used your name, she said. Her voice was shaky. I mean, I saw the card, but I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. Why are you calling me? Because I'm leaving him, she said. I took the kids and went back to Tucson. I found out there's another woman. I found texts. He bought the PS5 for her kid. I sat there, stunned. She kept going. He's been lying to me for months. He took out another card under someone else's name, too. A friend of his from his old job. I think you were just the first one he thought wouldn't fight back. There it was. I wasn't special. I was just easy. The trial date was set for March. Kyle didn't show up to the first hearing. He said he was sick. Then said he didn't get the notice. The judge issued a warning. One more no-show and a bench warrant would be filed. The second time, he appeared. Wore a wrinkled button-down. Didn't say much. His court-appointed attorney tried to argue that it was a family dispute, that I could have resolved it privately. But the paper trail was too clean. The fraud report was solid. The video from the furniture store was undeniable. And the texts I'd found, yes, I checked our old message threads, where he casually mentioned floating debt and, don't worry, I'll clean it all up soon, were icing on the cake. Detective Harrington called me a cooperative and credible witness. I showed up in court. Sat in the second row. Kyle didn't even look at me. But his lawyer did. You really want to do this? He asked outside the courtroom. I nodded. I'm already doing it. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was the principle. Every time my parents made excuses for him. Every time they said I had more, like that justified him taking what he wanted. Every time he guilted me into helping, and I stayed quiet because I didn't want to be the bad son. I was done. And I wasn't alone. After the hearing, Megan filed a report of her own. Said he'd been using her credit without consent. Said he forged her signature on a loan application 6 months ago. It was piling up fast. Then I got a letter in the mail. From Kyle. Handwritten. Sloppy. It said he was sorry. That he panicked and didn't know what else to do. That he thought I'd never press charges. That he figured I'd just eat the cost like always. That part hit me hardest. Like it was a habit. Like I was the fool he counted on. I didn't respond to Kyle's letter. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I knew it wouldn't matter. Anything I said would just be another opening for him to manipulate, to twist into some excuse. I'd learned my lesson. But the twists weren't done. 2 weeks after the letter, I got a call from HR at my job in Denver. Hey, just a heads up, my manager said. We got a weird email from someone claiming you're under criminal investigation for fraud. They didn't leave a name, just linked to some court docket. I felt my stomach drop. He kept going. We looked into it. Obviously, we know it's not you. Your name's clean. But we thought you should know someone's trying to stir the pot. I knew exactly who it was. Kyle had gone nuclear. I called Rachel again. She wasn't surprised. That's pretty common, she said. When people like Kyle feel cornered, they lash out. Smear campaigns, false reports. Seen it a dozen times. I filed a harassment report and submitted a statement to my employer clearing the record. Thankfully, they stood by me. Still, I couldn't believe how far Kyle was willing to go. Then I got a DM on Instagram, from a woman I didn't know. Her name was Bailey. She said she lived in Spokane. I think your brother used my info to open a cell phone account, she wrote. Megan told me to reach out. I have a police report open too. That made 3 of us. Me. Megan. Bailey. And who knows how many others. When Kyle finally went to sentencing, I didn't go. I didn't need to see him beg the judge or cry about being a dad or say he was doing his best. I already knew how the performance would go. He got 2 years probation, 150 hours of community service, and was ordered to pay restitution, though I doubt I'll see a dime. But the real damage? That came after. My dad stopped talking to me entirely. Said I destroyed the family. Mom still sends me passive-aggressive texts every few weeks. Hope you're happy. We don't even know where Kyle is now. Megan's struggling. The kids are asking questions. They think I broke something. But Kyle did that. He just used me to hold the hammer. That was when I made a decision I didn't expect to make. I changed my last name. It wasn't dramatic. No big ceremony. I just filed the paperwork, paid the fee, and moved on. I didn't want his mess following me for the rest of my life. I was done carrying that weight. I don't hate my brother. I don't even think about him most days. But I'll say this, if he ever tries to use my name again, he'll find out real quick, he doesn't even know it anymore. 6 months passed. I thought that was the end. I thought I'd close that chapter. My credit was locked down, my job was safe, Kyle was off my radar. I got promoted, started going to the gym again, even signed up for a weekend woodworking class. Normal stuff. Quiet life. Peace. Then I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. It was Megan. Hey, I know you said you're done, but you should know something. Her voice was nervous. Whispery. He's back in town. Mesa. Living with your parents. And I think he's trying to open something under your old name. I overheard him talking about a new angle. Said the bank won't know the difference if the middle name's off. I hung up and stared at the wall. He hadn't learned a thing. I'd done everything legally right. I followed the rules. I gave the law its shot. And still, Kyle was trying to find a crack to crawl through. That's when something inside me broke clean. I didn't want justice anymore. I wanted payback. I drove down to Mesa that weekend. Didn't tell anyone I was coming. My parents' house looked the same. Dusty lawn, cracked driveway, fading American flag on the porch. I parked across the street and waited. Watched. He came out around 2 p.m. Same walk. Same slouched posture. Hoodie pulled up like he was hiding from the world. He got in a busted Corolla with temp tags and drove off. I followed him. No plates on the front, cracked tail light. He stopped at a check cashing place. Walked in with a folder. I called Rachel. Can I catch him in the act? I asked. If I film it? Not only can you, she said, you should. Bring it to the police. Again. People like this don't stop until they're really stopped. So I did. I got video of him handing over documents at the counter. When he came out, I filmed his face, his license plate, everything. Then I called the Mesa PD. 2 hours later, I met a detective outside the same check cashing store. I showed him everything. The detective already had a record on Kyle. He made a call, ran the new identity attempt through their system, and confirmed it. Kyle had used my old last name, with a slightly tweaked birth date. Felony identity fraud. Second offense. No probation this time. They arrested him at my parents' house the next morning. My dad called me, livid. You set your own brother up? After everything? No, I said. He did that himself. I just hit record. Then I hung up. That was the last time I spoke to my father. This time, the court wasn't lenient. The judge wasn't interested in family drama or crocodile tears. Kyle got 18 months in county jail. No suspended sentence. No slap on the wrist. Just bars, a uniform, and time. I went to the final hearing. He looked at me once when they let him out in cuffs. Just once. I stared back. Didn't blink. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. That was 2 years ago. I haven't heard from him since. Megan's doing better now. She went back to school. Got a job in admin. She even texted me once just to say thanks. The kids are growing up. Sometimes I send gift cards anonymously. No return name. My mom still sends Christmas cards with Kyle's name scribbled in. I toss them without opening. I'm not bitter. Not anymore. But I learned something the hard way. Some people think blood is a free pass. That family means you'll always clean up their mess, pay their tab, bail them out. But family isn't about who needs you. It's about who respects you. Kyle made his choices. And I made mine. I don't regret a single one.